We just launched our 5-gallon cider making kit, and today we're going to show you how to make 5 gallons of rustic American cider, and we're going to bottle it dry and sparkling. Recently, we've introduced our 5-gallon cider kit, and it comes with everything you need to get started making cider, including caps, a capper, a bucket, yeast, and instructions to guide you through the whole process. We're going to show you how to do a little bit of an elevated spin on the cider recipe in that guidebook. But the base ingredients are simple: apple juice and yeast. With apple juice and yeast, you can make a cider up to about 5% alcohol, and then we're going to show you how to make it sparkling as well. You can use any store-bought apple juice or fresh pressed apple juice from a local orchard. Today we're going to be using some premium apple juice in addition to just some regular store-bought, juice box style apple juice. We're going to blend these together in our 5-gallon bucket, add a few extra ingredients to bring it up a notch, and let it ferment. Then we'll show you how to bottle it with priming sugar and get it sparkling in the bottle. Everything here has been sanitized. Our kit comes with a no-rinse sanitizer. We've gone ahead and sanitized everything that's going to touch our brew, so that way the only microbe inside of our cider is the yeast that we're going to put in there. We've got here 5 gallons of apple juice. That is our base, but we're going to do a few other things to really kind of kick this up. I like to add some tannin to my cider. Tannin helps extend the finish on your cider. It keeps those flavors around on the palate just a little bit longer. For this cider, we're using a very minimal amount of tannin, just 3 grams in 5 gallons. We're also going to be adding some nutrient. Sometimes apple juice can have kind of a slow ferment, and we want to make sure this gets across the finish line without any yeast stress complicating the situation. Yeast stress sometimes can lead to sulfury aromas, and we don't want to have to deal with that. So we're going to be adding 13 grams of diammonium phosphate, which is a standard yeast nutrient. And because we are using some pretty hazy apple juice in here, I'm going to go ahead and cheat by adding a little bit of pectic enzyme. Pectic enzyme, or pectinase, is an enzyme that breaks down fruit pectins, and that way, on the other end of fermentation, you get a little bit of a clearer cider. Now we're about to put lemon juice in here, so we're going to hold off on putting in our pectic enzyme until after the apple juice goes in, because lemon juice can denature some of the pectic enzyme, and we want to get our full effect. So we'll just set that aside. One last extra ingredient I'm going to add is some lemon juice. We're going to put in the juice of 5 lemons. This is also optional, but it will add a little bit of freshness and brightness to the cider, which is kind of nice. All right, we've got our lemon juice, our tannin, and our nutrient in there. All of these are optional, but they can help take your cider to the next level. So before we get our pectic enzyme in, let's go ahead and put in our apple juice. Really important to note, you do want to make sure your spigot is in the off position when you put your apple juice in. The easiest way to know it is in the off position is to drain your sanitizer out of the spigot and then close it as your last step before brew day. All right, last step, pectic enzyme goes in. Now, another thing that comes with our kit is the thermometer. It is a fermentation thermometer that is adhesive, so we can stick it right there on the side of our bucket and know the approximate temperature of our brew. Last but not least, we've got to put our yeast in. This is going to turn the sugars in that apple juice into alcohol, turning this from apple juice into hard cider. Our cider kit comes with a yeast called AC4, and it is perfect for making fruity ciders. All right, that's it. Now all we've got to do is put on our sanitized lid and fill up our airlock with water to the fill line. And that's it. We're going to put this in a nice room temperature place, somewhere around 68 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit, and let it ferment. Usually a cider will finish fermenting in about a week, pretty fast, but I like to give it about 2 to 3 weeks just to make sure the yeast have had time to clean up after themselves and everything kind of starts dropping to the bottom. So we'll be back in a couple of weeks and get this bottled up. Once our cider's done, it's time to get it into bottles. Here we're going to be priming it. What's priming? It's adding a little bit of sugar so that way you get carbonation in that sealed bottle. Now we're going to be showing you a little bit of an advanced technique. We're going to be racking onto priming sugar in a second bucket. But if you don't have a second bucket available, go ahead and use 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. That's either table sugar or dextrose, or 1 carbonation drop per 12-ounce bottle. That'll give you just enough carbonation to make this a nice, crisp cider. A few weeks later, fermentation was done and our hydrometer read at 1.000 consistently, so it was time to get it primed and bottled. To prime the cider, we are mixing 5 ounces of dextrose, which is priming sugar, into a cup of boiled hot water. We're putting that in the bottom of our second bucket, opening up the spigot, and racking it over on top of that sugar syrup. This will mix it throughout the batch. Then our buckets can trade places, we can hook up our bottling wand and get our cider bottled. We're filling them all the way to the brim, so when we remove the bottling wand or hose, if you're not using a bottling wand, you're going to have just the right amount of headspace in each bottle. I'm also using a tiny little sanitized bowl to hold the bottling wand in between bottles. You just want to make sure that you don't accidentally activate the valve on that bottling wand while it's in that tiny bowl. This takes a while. It took about a good half hour to bottle up all of these bottles, just making sure to be really careful the whole time. Don't spill any, don't overflow any bottles, and get everything tidied up. As you get to the end of the bucket, you might want to elevate it. I used a couple of stoppers here to get the bucket kind of cocked sideways at an angle, so that way I could get those last couple of bottles out of the bottom. Then, using our capper and some crown caps, we got those under caps and they're ready to go back for 4 to 6 weeks into a nice room temperature room and carbonate up. Overall, accounting for the loss from primary to secondary, I got about 40 bottles of cider. And just a few weeks later, our cider is ready to go. Now, with a rustic cider like this, bottling it before it's super clear, you might get some sediment that will settle to the bottom as it chills. You might be able to see that here. It's a little film at the bottom. You can either kind of roll the bottle around to mix that sediment in, or just carefully pour off, leaving that sediment just there before the neck of the bottle. Or if you want to be really aggressive, you can use fining agents or just time to let it drop crystal clear. But we're not going for a perfect look here, we're going for quick and good. You can see we got nice bubbles there coming up from the bottom, and with a really delicate pour, we can get it fairly clear in the glass. Just how I like it. Our CraftaBrew 5-gallon cider kits are available now on our website. Go check out CraftaBrew.com, and if you've got tips or recipes for a really good cider, please drop that in the comments below. We love hearing about your brewing experiences. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell so you don't miss upcoming content from us here at CraftaBrew. Until next time, I'm BC, and I hope you have good things brewing.